everyone, welcome back to Dee's Stamping Dream. Today we are going to create this beautiful card. I got this stamp set by the Bay, and this stamp right here, I just think it's so pretty. And then the cranes, I think that's really pretty too. Well, I'm going to make this as a thinking of you card, but you could use this as a manly birthday card also. It looks like we always are trying to find something that looks manly, to me anyway, and so this one would make a very pretty manly card. And I'm really only going to be stamping and then using just a couple of stamping blends, but mainly using water. So let me show you how to recreate this card. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to create our card base. And this is crumb cake, and I'm just going to cut it at 8.5. Save these to use as pieces on your cards. I save all of the cardstock because you never know when you might need a small piece. 8.5 by 5.5. And then I'm going to turn it landscape, and I'm going to score it at 4 1/4. And I will run this scoring tool 2 or 3 times. I want to make sure that I get a nice fold on there. So we have that for our card base, and then I am going to get a piece of white cardstock, just plain old white cardstock, and this is what I'm going to place my stamp on. So we have our little stamp here. Actually, it's a big one. I might have to get my big block. So I have my, let me put this paper down so I don't mess up this brand new grid. I just keep using the same ones so that way I don't mess up my paper, because I use my grid a lot more than I ever thought I would. Okay, so I'm just going to take my block like this. I'm going to use Fresh Fig. Let me kind of bring this up a little bit. And because it's a bigger stamp, I'm just going to go like this. So just get a really good, make sure you get some real good color there. And then I'm just going to stamp it. And I did stamp it right in the middle. You could stamp it off to the side, but I stamped it right in the middle. So there is our image. Now, I'll make sure I clean this here in a little bit. So now I want to cut that image out. And I'm going to use this stitch square, and I'm going to cut out right like that. So if you have a Big Shot, or you can use scissors, whatever you have. Don't feel like you can't recreate something just because you don't have it figured out. That's what I do all the time. So we have our bottom plate. Then you're going to place let me put that a little bit closer so you can see. So now I want to decide what I want to see, and I think this time I want to see more of the ocean than I did last time. And so then we're just going to put our little top on here and then run it through. Now we have our piece that we are going to color on. Let me get the Big Shot out of the way. You could also use your trimmer, and that's what we're going to do to get this pink piece behind it. So I'll show you how to use the trimmer to cut out your square also. So now that we have this, I'm going to use my Stampin' Blends, and this is Dark Pool Party, and this is Light Pool Party, And then the really dark color is light Bermuda Bay. So the light Bermuda Bay is what I'm going to use on the actual ocean part. And I'm going to clear off the edge, just like that. Because that stitch border, it's grabbing. So I'm just going to take it on down like this. Does not have to be perfect. Perfect, okay. Then I want to make sure that I get this edge really well. Good. Okay. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the darker pool party, and I'm just going to do some what I would call, not really highlighting, but low lighting right through here. And it doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, I usually do it pretty sloppy because I think it winds up turning out much better. Now you're going to take the light pool party, and even strokes is the best way to go. So that way it looks like the shadow around your buildings. Just go straight up and down. There we go. And you could leave some of it white if you wanted to, so it looks like clouds. However you want to create it is fine. Now I'm going to get just some water going. See how it just has a little piece of water right there? And I'm just going to use that fresh fig to color in my buildings. So I'm just coloring in my buildings right here. And then I'm also going to color in this part of the retaining wall. All I did was use the ink that was already there. And then just try to blend it on out down here towards the bottom. Then again, just give a little piece of water and then wipe it off. So now I have Tranquil Tide that I could use, Lemon Lime Twist, and then Call Me Clover. I think I'm mainly going to use these two, and then for these little trees back in here and these couple of trees right here, I'm going to use Tranquil Tide here in a minute. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm literally dipping it straight onto the stamp pad, and I'm just going to just go over all of this green part, what would be grass. And I'm not being very particular. I want it to be very fluid, very loose. So now I'm just going to pick up a little bit of Call Me Clover, and I'm just going to kind of add some pieces here. And I want it to be a little bit more fluid than it is. There we go. So I just have some darkness in some of these areas. That's perfect. Perfect. And it'll dry. Okay, again, I'm just using my hand. You could use, you could actually use a paper towel, but I just kind of use what I have on hand. And you can see that I used my lid just for this reason. I'm just going to get some darker areas here. I want this a little bit darker, this a little bit darker right in here. And then I'm just going to kind of add it to the water mix. Perfect. That is all I did to recreate this. I used maybe lighter, more Call Me Clover in this area. This one I used more as a walkway. So whatever you want to do is fine. And you could kind of get some Tranquil Tide in there so it has a little bit of a different color. Awesome. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to create a square using your trimmer or even scissors. I'm not so hot at scissors, so scissors and me are not friends. So I'm just going to place this right in the trimmer. It doesn't have to be perfect. This needs to be perfect more so than this does. And I'm just going to cut. And you can see I left about the same amount. And then again, I'm just going to try to get this piece right about where I would want it on the actual card. And then, whoa. I always do that. If I'm trying to be real precise, that's what I get for being precise. Okay. A little bit bigger than I wanted, but that's okay. It'll work. You could trim it on down. I'm fine with it. I also want a piece of this green cardstock, and I think I'm going to make it skinnier. Sometimes I will adjust the cards. So you can tell that this is much thicker piece. This time I'm not going to do as much of a thick piece. I'm just going to use what I have on hand. Except that it needs to be a little bit more even than that. Again, this is how you can really use up your scraps. It just works out so good. Alright, let me get that out of the way. So I'm going to get a better fold on this. I like my cards to stay shut. And this one is not. So we're going to place that right there. And I'm just going to get it out from the edge just a little bit more than I did on the other. And then I have my pink layer. And I don't want it quite to the bottom because I want to put our sentiment. So you can tell that the sentiment was down there. So I want to do the same thing. This will dry. You could wait till it's dry to put it on the card, but it's not going to hurt anything. I just think that's so pretty. And it didn't take long to create either. A little bit of water and ink pads. That's all you need. You could watercolor this, or you could color it totally with your stamping blends. It just depends on what you want to do. If I think that this is a little too stark for me, I'm going to, and I do think it's maybe a little too stark, I'm just going to kind of add some Tranquil Tide up in here. I don't want it to be complete. There we go. Looks a little dark and then goes to light like that. Much better. Fix it as you go, guys. Okay, so now we have this one piece left. I am going to take my trimmer, and I want it about 1.5 inches. If you have 1 inch, use what you have. And then from that same stamp set, I am going to use this Thinking of You. So get that on my block here. You could use Tranquil Tide or the Call Me Clover. I think I used Call Me Clover the last time, but I'm going to use the Thinking of You. Right there, so pretty. Okay. Then all I have to do is flag the end. So I'm just going to place it in my little label like I always do. Flag the end of it. I'm going to cut off some of it just like that because I don't need all of this. Then, did you see what I did? Stick my fingers in the... That's how I do. I'm just going to put that little tab right in there. If I get it too close, roll it. All snails work this way. Just roll it until you get it where you want. Stick it in there just like that. So cute. Hopefully I showed you how to use your stamp pads as inks, because it really does work out pretty well. If you don't want to buy a whole new watercolor set, this will work out just perfectly. Thanks for joining me today on De-Stamping Dream. If you please like or subscribe to my videos, I'd appreciate it. And please follow me on my blog at destampingdream.blogspot.com. Have a great day.